It was a warm summer day when the noise of roaring engines echoed down the main street of a small town. A group of bikers, known for their rowdy behavior, had gathered outside a convenience store, revving their engines and laughing loudly. They were the kind of men who liked to show off fast bikes, loud voices, and the need to make everyone else feel small. In the midst of this, a truck rolled into the parking lot. Behind the wheel was a quiet man named Mark, an unassuming middle-aged truck driver who had been hauling freight across the country for years. But what most people didn't know about Mark was that he had been a Navy SEAL. He had served his country in some of the toughest places in the world, facing dangers most people couldn't even imagine. He had seen things that would haunt others for a lifetime, yet he always carried himself with quiet strength. That day, however, Mark wasn't the focus. His daughter, Jenna, was. Jenna had just finished a long day of work at a local diner and had hopped into her father's truck to head home. She was a young woman in her 20s, with a gentle smile and a sharp wit. Despite her friendly demeanor, she had her own kind of strength, a kind that came from growing up in a household where toughness and discipline were part of everyday life. As Jenna stepped out of the truck, she heard the bikers laughing loudly, their voices cutting through the air. One of the bikers, a tall man with a scruffy beard, made a beeline for her. "Hey there, sweetheart," he called, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "You lost, or just looking for a good time?" The other bikers snickered, clearly enjoying the spectacle they were creating. Jenna, who had dealt with her fair share of disrespect over the years, didn't let it rattle her. She gave them a smile, but it was one that didn't reach her eyes. "I'm just fine, thank you," she said, turning away and walking towards the store. But the bikers weren't done yet. One of them, a burly man with tattoos running down his arms, stepped into her path. "Hey, you think you can just walk away?" he sneered. "We were talking to you." Jenna didn't stop. She tried to move around him, but he blocked her way again. "What's your problem, girl?" he demanded, leaning in close, his breath smelling of beer and cigarettes. "You think you're too good for us." The other bikers, sensing an opportunity to escalate the situation, surrounded her, laughing louder now, making crude comments. But Jenna, calm as ever, didn't back down. "I don't have time for this," she said, her voice firm but still polite. "So if you'll excuse me, I'll be on my way." That's when one of the bikers made a mistake. He reached out and grabbed her arm, tugging her back toward him. "Oh no, you're not going anywhere, sweetheart." "Not until we're done talking," he said with a grin, his grip tightening. Jenna's heart began to race, but she kept her composure. What the bikers didn't know was that she wasn't just any ordinary woman. Her father had taught her how to stand her ground, how to defend herself when the time came. She had learned from a man who had survived situations most people would run from. Just as the biker tightened his grip, a voice rang out from behind them. "That's enough." The bikers froze, all of them turning to see a tall, broad-shouldered man approaching. His face was weathered, his posture calm and commanding. It was Mark. His eyes, cold and calculating, scanned the group of bikers. The bikers, not recognizing him at first, scoffed. "What do you want, old man?" one of them shouted. Mark didn't say a word. He simply stepped forward, his movements slow but deliberate. His presence was enough to make the bikers pause. "Let go of my daughter," Mark said in a voice that was steady and low. The man holding Jenna's arm hesitated, then chuckled nervously. "Your daughter, huh? What are you gonna do about it?" he sneered. Mark's eyes didn't leave him. "You don't want to find out," he said. The air grew thick with tension as Mark moved closer. There was something in the way he carried himself, something in the way he stood tall and unyielding, that made the bikers rethink their actions. They had seen men like Mark before, calm, disciplined, and deadly. But they hadn't expected him to be the father of the woman they had been bullying. As the realization hit them, one of the bikers spoke up, his voice shaky. "You're just some old trucker." What makes you think you can stop us?" Mark didn't answer. Instead, he reached into his jacket and pulled out a small, worn ID card, flashing it briefly. The bikers froze as they saw the letters USN and the emblem of the Navy SEALs. "My name's Mark," he said quietly, his voice still calm, but now carrying the weight of years of service.